What's up everybody, Blackthorn Gaming here, and today we're bringing you footage from the new Battle Royale Spellbreak. This game has only been out for about a week and a half, and I am having a lot of fun with this game. There are only two modes available right now. There's the squads mode, which is actually trios, not your typical four-man squads. And then there's solos out as well. They have a duos mode that is planned in the future, but no recent updates on when that's going to drop. But today, the footage we're bringing you is actually from a squad game that ended up being a pretty good game. So we're going to get looted up, and then we'll skip to the fight here in just a minute. One thing I want to point out, you see this big dome over here. This is actually, it's called a mana vault, but it's the equivalent of a loot drop in most other battle royales. It's guaranteed to have a legendary item in it, and it will also have purple items in it as well. So it takes about 20 seconds from the time you initiate the opening sequence to the time that it actually opens. That's just something to keep in mind if you are landing on a lot of these loot drops. Personally, that's actually the best way to find people if you're having any trouble running into people. It's just every time a new circle closes in, there will be so many more new mana vaults that are added to the map. If you just go on your map and you mark each one, then you'll know that people will be heading there. It's of course risky, but anytime you're going for more kills in a game, it's going to be risky, as opposed to going for just the win, hiding the whole game and then coming in right at the end. So a really cool feature of this game is that most of the spells have some combination or another, and some of the spells directly counter the other spells. So somebody's using their fire gauntlet and they put up a flame wall, but you have the tempest ability, and it's just the air person. You can actually put out those flames with just your regular attack, or you can launch a tornado on top of it and it will make a fire tornado to suck your enemy in. And there's all kinds of combinations. You can throw some toxic gas out and then freeze it with the ice ability, or you can shoot fire into the toxic cloud of gas and it will blow it up. It'll do, like 20 damage or something to anybody in the radius. Or you can even like shock the gas and it will electrocute anybody within a certain range. So there's all kinds of things you can play with. So besides the two gauntlets that you can have, one of which you have to pick before the game starts and you can't trade it out, there are also what I call the B button abilities, because I'm on Xbox, but it would be the circle abilities on PlayStation, or whatever that keybind is on PC. And these come in all the different rarities, just like all the other drops in the game, whether it be boots, belts, amulets, or the gauntlets. And most of them are for mobility, but there are some that are a little sneaky. There's the invisibility one. But other than that, it's pretty much all mobility. It's definitely recommended you have one, because it doesn't actually cost any of your mana to use it. The only things that cost mana are your right trigger abilities, your left trigger abilities, and your jump, and your glide, I guess you would call it, or hover, possibly. But other than that, your special ability and your two gauntlet special abilities don't actually cost any mana, they just have a cooldown timer. One thing to note is that when one of your teammates is killed, they will be disrupted. They'll turn into one of those little golden balls right there, and you have the opportunity to revive them. But the enemy also has the same opportunity to banish them to where they can't even be revived. So if at all possible, respawn your teammates, because you only get the one chance in order to do so. It's not always possible to do it. You may be getting pressured too much by an enemy. But whenever possible, it's a good idea to go ahead and get them back in the game. So as far as the gauntlets go, there are 6 different gauntlet types. There's fire, ice, wind, poison, earth, and lightning. And they all have their own playstyle, and they all have their own unique abilities, whether it's an area... most of the secondary abilities that have a cooldown are a big area of effect ability, which is why they have a cooldown, obviously. And it all really comes down to how you prefer playing, which one you want to run the most often. However, you want to run all of them at least up to level 6, because that will unlock all of the abilities that you can choose before you go into the game, which are your mind, spirit, and body abilities. And the some of these are just absolutely ridiculous. There is one that once per match, if you get disrupted, instead of turning into a ball, you'll actually have a little like 5-second timer where you can run away and then revive. It's not always effective, but sometimes it is. Then there's one that the first attack you take will be negated. So you won't get damage at all from that first attack. And it has a 50-second cooldown before you have to go 50 seconds without being attacked again in order to get that again. But it's pretty useful. Then there's one that you're immune to being frozen, slowed, or shocked, which obviously that's super effective, because if you get hit by, say, you know, the freeze ability or the lightning strike ability, you'll still have your full range of abilities instead of being frozen and suffering a penalty. So the loot you have throughout the game is super important. I know it's a battle royale, of course it's important, but don't underestimate picking up the better belts, for example, because the belts are how you get armor. The better belt you have, the more armor you have. If you have just a white belt, which is the common level, it will only give you 20 shield, whereas the gold belt will give you 100 shield, and that doubles your health. And then the scrolls as well. I play matches and I see scrolls laying all over the place. Pick up every one you can. You can only pick 3 from each class, say spirit, mind, or body. You can only pick 3 of them, but that will maximize the benefit you're receiving from those perks. And as you can see throughout this gameplay, it's a little difficult to fight a full team at a time. I actually got really fortunate that this in-game circle had several different teams making up the players that remained, and so everybody was fighting everybody, and I was able to kind of look in from the outside and use it to my advantage. If it's one person going against a full team of 3, it's going to be almost impossible to win unless they're just really bad. You see, you notice everybody's kind of fighting everybody here. And that's something you can really use to your advantage. A big way to get kills in this game is to just listen for the sounds of the fighting and head towards it and third party it. Because it gets so chaotic, it's hard for everybody to keep track of it, of course. But anyway, I'll have more detailed videos on you know, possible different strategies, this, that, and the other. I feel like this game has a lot of content to be made, and I really enjoyed it. I hope y'all are willing to check it out. But this ended up being a 9-kill gameplay once I finished this last guy here. And, you know, he puts up a good fight. He tries to run away, but at the end of the day, I was able to finish him off. And the victories are pretty satisfying. You level up each class individually that you play as your main class for that match. But anyway, guys, thanks for the watch. If you like this video, consider leaving a like. If you'd like to subscribe, consider doing that as well. If not, have a good day, always.